It's sealed off here, too.
Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it.
No way.
Nein?
Huh? Doctor?
Huh? Wait. What the... Wait. Who are you? Help! Somebody come help me!
Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked?
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
The mystery materialized. It must be related to what the doctor just said.
Wem galt die Frage, wer bist du?
So the question is, who did the doctor say?
Okay, ich glaube, es ist wirklich so.
To?
Ich glaube, es ist wirklich so.
I'll leave it to you.
I don't get how you can keep reading at a time like this.
Da steht niemanden. Dadurch, dass es eine Auswahl ist. Komm, es ist es, oder? Wahrscheinlich sind einfach alle wieder falsch. Und es war Humor.
The trap didn't activate. Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So the right answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there?
The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapel. So the only explanation is that no one was there.
Why would he say that if no one was there?
I think if we go there, we'll find the answer.
What? That route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway?
But it looks like this is the only way we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving the mystery behind this case.
Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead.
Welches Motiv hatte der Doktor? Naja, er wollte abhauen mit den
So,
Forschungsdingern und
Master,
Geld.
do you have an idea about what the geezer was thinking?
Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act.
An act? Really?
The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down this doctor's motive route.
Yomi? Ah ja, okay.
Ah, he's here too?
You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Weska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had no motive at all!
Well, he said there's nothing here. Let's head back.
We can't do that! If he's trying to block our path, then this route must be important.
Nah, fine.
I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So, I'm gonna end you here and now!
Er mit seinem Gummischwert. Aber er sieht wirklich cool aus. So richtig cool.
This one.
Nichts Butter auf dem Schreibtisch des Doktors Hundes enthält Zeichnung einer Person, die mit Schwefelsäure bespritzt wird. Ach, wollte er so raus? Naja. Wollte er jemanden mit Schwefelsäure bespritzen und so tun, als wäre es der Doktor? Naja, egal. Ich schätze, hier drum ging es erstmal.
Was all part of the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood.
Ui.
You
Jetzt kommt's.
probably don't know this.
Ah, nee, doch nicht.
Weska put his soul into his work. The research was going well.
Das stimmt.
The doctor
eigentlich
was
nicht so.
loyal to Amaterasu.
Ne, das nicht.
This is the truth.
Das definitiv nicht.
No, the doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward. He said so in the messages he wrote.
You little...
Yomi's rebuttal? What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives?
It seems that this case involves the inner workings of Amaterasu.
Right. The doctor was going to betray Amaterasu, and whoever he was emailing knew that. So the doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person.
Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that.
Hey!
It's the security gate. Everything's locked up.
Wie plante der Doktor aus dem Kanai-Bezirk zu
Which
entkommen?
means this is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key.
This is way more hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma.
As always.
Stromausfall, Ersatz. Ersatz? Gibt's unterschiedliche? Also terroristischer Bombenangriff würde ich jetzt mal also kategorisch ausschließen. Stromausfall könnte halt sein durch halt unsere Lösungsschlüssel, die wir haben bezüglich Stromversorgung. Ersatz weiß ich nicht, was es mir sagen will. Was ersetzen wir denn? Ich gehe erstmal hier hin. Luftschleusen, Dekommunal, verfügt über Scharnieren, das macht keinen Sinn. Das war das, was ich meinte mit irgendjemandem übergießen. Kleid und Haut auflösen und das Opfer unkenntlich machen. Genau deswegen. Da würde er wahrscheinlich jemand, der reinkommt, damit übergießen und so tun, als wäre er es. Damit er dann abhauen kann. Strengere Akte oder das macht auch keinen Sinn. Gibt es hier die gleichen? Scheinbar. Das macht alles keinen Sinn. Ich mache jetzt einfach mal das. In der Hoffnung, dass es Sinn ergibt. Nicht zu früh freuen.
Oh, the door actually opened. I knew I could let you.
Vielleicht ist da eine
handle it.
fleischfressende Pflanze dahinter. Warte ab.
Are you sure you aren't a phantom?
So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at his plan.
You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone?
Yeah, he was going to swap places with a corpse, then melt it with acid.
Ach so,
He wanted to
Ersatz.
disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death.
Ersatz im Sinne von austauschen, also den Platz tauschen. Willst du mich verarschen? Ersatz? Ey, nee.
At the very least, it'd buy him enough time to escape Kanai Ward. Or so he thought.
Wow, Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid? Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who was the substitute supposed to be?
Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for a chance to escape. When he learned a hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived. The doctor was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy.
Now that I think about it, the doctor did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive.
The hitman hasn't arrived yet. When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers.
But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans.
And that was the act he put on by asking you, "Who are you?"
Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in, Yuma.
He was trying to lure Master?
He considered taking advantage of the detectives, since the hitman never showed up. So if he called for help, he would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system, and thereby acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy.
That seems overly complicated. Like those guys who overthink asking girls out.
Well, he couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence. He needed visitors, people from outside to pull it off.
Also sehr hübsch hier. So, das war der Fahrstuhl, den wir mit Makoto genommen haben. Ab ins Lab.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab...
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close.
You want that?
But the doctor's plan failed, and he actually got boom killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
In other words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
Where are we?
Süß.
This
Alles gefällt
place is
mir.
a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master, this looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
I haven't said anything yet!
Der Täter betrat das Labor vor Amapel.
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death! We are at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
Oh, die Musik! Das ist doch Danganronpa. Ist das jetzt wirklich eine komplette Anspielung auf Danganronpa? Weil der Zeichenstil ist ein bisschen anders trotzdem. Aber das würde so gut gerade passen. Also, wenn wir von Labor sprechen, sprechen wir nur von dem Raum, wo er war. Ne? Da sprechen wir nicht von der Luftschleuse und bla bla bla. Das heißt, ja, der Täter muss vor Amapel reingegangen sein, weil wir haben die Leiche gesehen. So, das muss halt genau, als wir auf den Knopf gedrückt haben und uns nicht drehen können, deswegen ist auch der Punkt so wichtig, muss er halt reingegangen sein, ihn umgebracht haben und dann, als wir reinkamen, muss er einmal ein paar rumgeworfen haben, damit er wieder raus kann. So, das müsste genau das Zeitfenster sein. Deswegen, ja.
When I directed Amapel to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him. Which means he was murdered before Amapel entered the doctor's lab.
Your answer? Is correct!
Yay!
Congratulations, Master! Would you like to double down?
Ja,
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
ich möchte verdoppeln.
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapel entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
Nee,
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapel, Master.
nee,
The
oder?
culprit had to have entered the lab then.
But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapel. She said no one entered or left the lab.
Deswegen. Also das muss dann gewesen sein, als Chef Desuhiko und mich verlassen hat, um abzulenken. Oh, wie der Vorhang wieder. So.
Huh? We're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard.
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
Wo war der Täter vor der Tat? Also bei uns, dann im
This
Büro.
is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
Ich habe eine Vermutung, eine sehr starke. Da ist auch ein Strich. Da ist der Strich. Da war.
Here! The culprit must have been here!
Yay! It opened!
After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber, when we went to borrow Amapel, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There, the culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
But I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too?
Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapel into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapel to the doctor's lab.
Ja, ich bin Mithelfer.
So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapel could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapel unit.
No, the researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapel.
which means the Amapao Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapao to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Stand drauf.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
Nee, ich weiß es jetzt.
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied.
Und dann beim Abspringen oder so ist er umgefallen, weil plötzlich das Gewicht weg war.
Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
Wie hat der Täter Amapal benutzt? Als Taxi.
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
Als Waffe, als Schild, keines von beiden. Oder? Oder? Oder?
Do you think neither is really the right answer?
Ja, das war kein Taxi.
Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapal's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor. Which means Amapal wasn't the murder weapon. And the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high voltage shock would destroy it.
So then, how did the culprit use Amapao?
I think we'll find out if we continue down this path.
Wobei, wann ist er aufgestiegen?
Huh? That was the wrong answer? Come on, Master!
Was, wirklich? Was ist das? Hä, aber wir haben doch gesagt, das andere kann es auch nicht sein, hä? Blub. Als Transport. Über die Tür geklettert? Nee.
We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back.
Okay, warte mal. Also wenn die Dekontamination durchgeht, also danach kann er drauf gewesen sein. Weil, wenn es der Chef ist, weiß er, dass wir die Zeit zurückdrehen, sobald irgendwas nicht klappt. Das wäre ein hoher Gamble, aber ganz ehrlich, wer gerade einen Mord begehen will und danach auch, also selbst... Obwohl, Quatsch! Er hat ja das Gift eingeatmet. Nein, er stand von Anfang an drauf. Ja, er stand von Anfang an drauf, weil er 30 Minuten das Gift... Ja, das habe ich schon wieder verdrängt. Ja,
The
let's go.
door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Wo war der Täter vor der Tat? Hä?
Huh? Even the question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again?
Well, the logic is still sound. There's no other hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock.
So you want to choose the same answer and keep going?
If you
gut.
do, you'll just repeat the whole process again. We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapao. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to.
Hey, don't sit down!
What should I do?
Stand up! Stand up right now!
Stop it. Leave me alone.
If you want me to leave you alone, then help my useless master out!
Fine. Just one thing, then. We're back at... Where was the culprit before the crime? Because you're stuck at... How did the culprit use Amapao? With that in mind, these two questions are connected.
Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapal was used?
Er ist aus dem Vent gestiegen.
Help him out
Auf den Kopf.
more!
The culprit was hiding in the airlock, where you also left the robot, right? At that moment, Only the culprit and Amapal were there.
Ja,
So
ja.
maybe the culprit did something.
Es gab ja auch ein kurzes Störsignal. Und dann hat sie es wieder gefangen. Ja. Oh, das macht alles Sinn.
The culprit did something to Amapal?
Clues are always there, right under your nose. It's a detective's job to notice them. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember.
Something strange. Hey, now that you mention it, back then... Oh, hey, the screen lit up. So this is what Amapal sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha. Whoa, what was that? Did it break already? I thought it was state-of-the-art. No, it's all right. It's stabilized.
Neueste. Ab
There
nach
was a
Neues.
moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapal. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe...
See? I told you it was right under your nose. You don't need any additional help from me, right?
That was a clue to help solve this mystery?
Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. You just haven't noticed them. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else unusual?
Something unusual. Something I missed.
Anything else? It's not like Amapal's camera showed the culprit.
Wait, that's it!
Huh?
Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapal, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapal to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure.
Now that you mention it,
But nobody showed up on camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without appearing even once on Amapal's camera?
hey, aren't you just adding another mystery?
No. All the pieces are here.
Huh?
Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer.
A single answer?
Sheesh. I talk too much.
Was führte zu Amapals Fehlfunktion in der Luftschleuse? Warum ist der Täter nicht auf den Kameraaufnahmen aufgetaucht? Wie hat
What do
der...
we do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries!
Let's stay calm and think about it. There's plenty of time.
Wie hat der Täter Amapal benutzt?
Or
Als Taxi.
not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up.
Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think!
Ja.
Culprit's location. Amapal's usage. Its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All this can be solved with just one answer?
Auf! Spielkamerad als Waffe, als Transportmittel. Taxi! Fehlfunktion, Batterie war leer, Täter sprang auf ihn drauf. Warum ist der Täter nicht auf der Kameraaufnahme? Er war auf dem Kopf, er war in Amapal, Kopf.
I got it!
Oh,
The culprit rode on Amapal's head, using it as a method of transportation.
The door opened!
With every open door, it will be harder for you to turn back. Are you sure you want to keep going?
ja, unser Chef stirbt eh.
Absolutely. I will find the truth no matter what. This is for the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
culprit rode on top of Amapal. What did you mean by that?
Literally what I said. The culprit rode Amapel and used it to get through. After we left Amapel in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapel's head. The disruption in the footage was from the impact.
That's insane.
Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapal can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight. So, someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality.
100 Kilogramm? Ich dachte, ein Elefant.
The shoe print on Amapel's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it. It was left there from the culprit hopping on and off.
After that, the culprit simply rode on it as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab.
You're right. If it's true, then it does solve all of the previous mysteries. Imagining the culprit riding on a robot makes me laugh.
But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains.
What's with that huge sigh?
The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down.
Gibt nicht so viele Hinweise wie
This
wir.
case's greatest mystery?
Der spoilert voll. Und wieder da. Nee, das ist woanders.
This is the panel chamber.
Genau.
That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it. If we can get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah?
Wann ist der Täter von Amapal abgestiegen? Na, während die Tür aufging.
Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned?
Not exactly what I was envisioning.
Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out.
Beats me.
Vor dem Öffnen der Tür, während des Öffnens der Tür beim Hindurchgehen, während, weil sich Amapal da nicht umdrehen kann. Und die Tür sehr langsam ist.
The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapel entered the room. Which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapel at some point. It was when the door first opened. At that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room.
Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening, just like this. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Right. The moment there was enough space for a person to slip through, the culprit hopped off and went inside.
Like this?
Oh nein. Das stresst mich doch so.
We still haven't reached the goal. I thought we could get into the doc's lab now.
Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes. If this is a joke, it's not very funny.
Master, you know what to do.
Of course.
I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it in the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you!
Okay, es ist klar. Das müsste auf jeden Fall das sein. Genau, die Kamera nicht, wenn der Arm ausgefahren ist.
The culprit hopped off Amapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door.
Way!
That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist!
Au!
Think about it. If Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit,
I'll slash through this mystery. Amapel is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs.
Yep.
That's why when it was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
you little maggots, don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive.
I get it. So Amapel couldn't move while the door was opening. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Since the door opens outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot it creates. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the doctor's room.
So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapal's design, and even the direction the door opens. Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you can call it an obsession. How scary. Just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession on full display? A room of nightmares?
Knock it off with the weird soliloquies. Let's go.
You're really going?
Huh?
Again? What's with this thing?
Yomi, du nervst.
Hey, Yuma.
Ja?
When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open,
Huh? Yeah?
at the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and an intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed?
Der ist taub.
So what if he did notice? It's not a big deal.
Yes, it is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned to face him. Which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back.
That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed.
Hey, what are you, on the Phantom side now?
Listen to my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit! Everything you do is a fucking mistake!
Das war gemein.
Damn it!
Ui, 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 ui.
Your deduction is inconsistent! It's full of inconsistencies!
Das
By
stimmt nicht.
your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind.
Doch. Ah, nein, nicht runter.
That's all impossible!
Master!
Ja, ich weiß. Ich wollte ja dahin. Der wurde schon von
Your
hinten.
deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies.
Das ist falsch.
By your logic, even if the
Ui.
doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind.
That claim doesn't hold up!
Jetzt krieg ich kein S. Vielleicht eine A+.
No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered.
That's why I'm saying your deduction is inconsistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way!
schwerhörig.
Culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder.
Ah! Oh.
Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of
Ich
him
hab's
being
verpasst.
drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming.
Nein, ich hab's doch nicht verpasst.
This is the truth.
Oh, ich dachte schon.
Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder.
Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic, and there's no way you're gonna fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes.
What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivius said the same thing, but...
It's strange, don't you think? Isn't it about time you noticed that something's off here?
Huh?
You've solved many mysteries up to now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity.
That's because the culprit is the hitman.
If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? And that would end the labyrinth.
It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back, unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on. What are you getting at?
In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit.
Huh?
Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning.
What hole?
Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going.
Hey!
Yuma,
Was?
Yuma.
Hör auf, so creepy zu sein.
Jeez, go away!
Livia.
You know what I'm talking about,
Livia.
don't you? The huge hole in this investigation.
What are you...
Just ignore him.
Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapau's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapau while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you.
That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction?
It's before all of that. It remains the case's greatest mystery.
Which is?
How did the culprit get past security?
What?